Hey, what's up you guys? It is Tyler, and today I am telling you a story about a dog named Bruce. The other day I was taking my cousin home, and he lives in a very small town. It literally just has one store. It's called the Corner Store. And as we were passing the corner store, turning to go to his house, we saw a dog crossing the road. It was a really big, scary looking black dog. The kind of dog, like, if you're afraid of dogs, you don't want to fuck with this dog because it's huge. And we both quickly noticed that this dog was clearly hurt. Despite being mostly black, he had a white patch on his chest, what was supposed to be white but was totally red from blood. And one of his legs was completely out of use and he was limping. Me and my cousin both acknowledged the dog and how it was sad that it was hurt. Continued on. I dropped my cousin off, and when I left I drove back by the store, and the dog was across the street, just laying in the grass next to the small town school. So I drove over to a parking lot near where the dog was, and I got out, went and looked at him, and just saw that he was a very, very big dog, clearly in pain. I walked up to him, he wasn't growling at me, he wasn't scared or angry, definitely not violent at all. I just didn't get much closer to it because in the parking lot I saw a cop in his cop car, and he's basically always there in that school parking lot waiting to stop people who are going too fast through the town. So I got back in my car, I turned around, and as I pulled out to go tell him about the dog, see if there was anything he could do, the cop also pulled out of the parking lot, turned on his lights, and he stopped someone who was speeding. So that was no longer an option. So I went into the corner store and I asked if they had an animal shelter in their town. They said no, the closest one was 35 minutes away. So I asked them about the dog. They said that they had seen the dog walking around and that it belongs to the family that lives in the house right by the corner store. So I said, great, I'll go talk to him. I went out of there. Side note, I was going to pay my bills this day, so all of my money for my rent, my utilities, my internet, that's all I have to pay for. But still, pretty much all my money was in my coat pocket. I go over to these people's house, and it is a wreck. It's very small. It's like a shack, really. It looks like a storage building. And there are children's toys covering the front lawn, broken things and torn up baby dolls. It just doesn't look like the safest place for me to be with all my money in my pocket, and there is a no trespassing sign. So I'm like, might get shot, who knows. I go up to the front door and I knock, I wait, and no one comes. So I'm a little discouraged. I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I start to head back to my car. Well, then their neighbor comes out and she says that she hadn't seen the people who lived in that house for more than 3 days. They've been gone and she has no way to get a hold of them. So I ask her about the dog. She says that the dog looked like he had been stabbed, probably, and that she had been trying to keep the dog in the garage and trying to feed him, but he won't eat dog food. And so I tell her, okay, well, I'm gonna take the dog. So I go back into the corner store, tell them that I planned on taking the dog. So she comes out with hamburger scraps and gives me those to give to the dog, which was very nice. They were both very nice, and they told me thank you, and they were happy that I was taking care of the dog. So that was cool. They were very helpful. So I get out, drive around the side of the school. The dog has made it maybe 15 feet from where he was. So I pull in there and he's laying down, and I'm a little bit nervous. I get out of the car and then I open my back door. My car's a mess. So I move all my stuff to make room for the dog, and I get the hamburger and I approach him with my hand out and I let him smell me and I feed him the hamburger, and he is just so sweet, and he's wagging his tail and he's looking at me acting like nothing's even wrong, just chill. And I was like, okay, great. I gotta get him in my car somehow, so I'm trying to get him to stand up, showing him the hamburger, and he's not having it. He's not able to stand on his own. So I decided it's a good idea to pick him up and put him in my car. He is huge and he is hurt. I didn't want to have to pick him up because I didn't want to accidentally hurt him more and then him snap at me, because he could have probably killed me. He was a large dog. So I told him I was gonna pick him up, and I did. I just bent down and I picked him up, and he just wagged his tail and he looked up at me and was like he was gonna lick me and give me kisses and stuff. Like, he was just so calm and so nice and so loving, and I mean, he didn't whine or anything. I put him in the back of my car and he just adjusted himself and laid down. I gave him the rest of the food to eat. I called Christy and I told her what was going on. I went and picked her up. This town that the town that I picked the dog up was about 20 minutes from my town. So then I come back, travel that 20 minutes, pick up Christy, travel another 20, 25, 30 minutes, 2 towns over. By the time everything is said and done, this was not ordinary working hours, so we had to take him 2 towns over to a veterinary hospital. So really it's like 4 towns from where I was. So it was a bit of a drive. But he's in the back seat and he's doing okay. He's not whining. He is bleeding, but he's licking his chest and stuff, and he looks like he's doing all right. And every time I turn back there and talk to him, he was so nice and so sweet, and he just looked at me with these big eyes like he knew that I was going to help him. And I'd pet his head and he'd just close his eyes and lean on me. You know, we were feeding him. Christy brought him a can of cat food and he ate that like it was nothing. So we take him to the vet and we get him checked in. He's huge. They bring a stretcher out. I have to try to pick him up out of the car. And when I pick him up out of the car, this is the first time that I actually heard him whine. So we had 3 people out there, me and 2 girls who worked there. And they got him all checked in and looked at and stuff, and I signed some papers, told them that I would be financially responsible for him. I just had fallen in love with this dog and was convinced that he was mine now. So I was like, yes, of course I'm gonna pay it. I'm gonna do whatever he needs to do. Even though the only money I had on me was my rent money, and the only money that I had in the bank was money that I personally saved up for top surgery. So the vet comes out and tells me his game plan. He's gotta get the dog hydrated. He checked his vitals and said that he was dehydrated, and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but they put him on morphine and they were gonna go in, shave him up and look and see what was going on, and they'd call me and let me know. According to his general game plan that he had, if the dog had been stabbed, they were gonna have to go in and close it up or do whatever they needed to do, so he'd have to go under for surgery. So they kind of added up this cost of what they thought it would be, and then I would pay that cost up front. They would do whatever they needed to do, call me, keep me updated, and then I would come get the dog 2 days later. So I was like, okay. They bring me out the billing information, and it's gonna end up being like $1,800. And I was like, okay, all right. I don't have $1,800, and so they said that I can just pay the bare minimum up front, and then the $300 can just kind of be this maybe, maybe not cost, and I can, if they end up doing the stuff that's gonna be the extra $300, I can pay it when I pick them up. So, but I had to at least pay the base of $1,500, and I had to pay with a card. Me just knowing that this dog's life was the priority at the moment, and that the money I had saved up for top surgery, and just knowing that the money that I saved up for top surgery was there and was available to me. Now, just keep in mind that this is not donations, this is my personally saved money. So, without hesitation, I transferred the money from my savings to my bank account, and I paid the $1,500 out of my top surgery money that I had saved. And I had saved a total of like $1,600 for top surgery, and then the rest was donations. I have like a total of, or I had a total of $2,300 saved up with donations. $1,600 was my personal savings. So I barely got it paid for. Got that $1,500 out. Bruce is there, he's chilling, and we go home, and the night progresses. So we go out and we run some errands, we do whatever. I don't remember what we did. I just remember that when we pulled in to the apartment parking lot and coming home from the night, I got a call from the vet. And he tells me that Bruce's injury is a close range shotgun wound. So someone had shot Bruce in the chest with a shotgun very, very close, and that he's got pieces all in him, in his lungs, his leg, his front leg that he couldn't walk on had to be amputated, that even then he was going to need more vet visits, going to need to see a specialist, and there wasn't any guarantee that he was going to be getting better. So it was going to cost upwards of $4,000, plus the more vet visits and the specialist and all the things on top of that, and that the best option was to just put Bruce down. So that's what we decided to do. Just give me a second. Good tea. I really liked Bruce. So he stayed the night at the vet, and then the next day, me and my mom and Christy went over there. We got him a cheeseburger, and we got set up in a room, and they brought him out to us, and they opened the door, and he was walking, but not on his hurt leg, but they had him all bandaged up, and he was on pain meds, so he was feeling good. And he came in there and he saw us, and we fed him his burger, and then he laid down, and we just visited with him for a while and just petted him and told him we loved him. We hung out with Bruce for like almost an hour, and then the vet came in and he had the shots to get him first an anesthesia that just puts him under, so he just goes out like he's going for surgery. and then the second shot that just stops his heart. So there's no pain, there's no struggling. All he knows is that he's asleep 1 second, and then he's gone. So we said goodbye to Bruce, and we stepped out of the room and let the doctor do that. And it was really sad, it was really emotional, we were all crying, it was really bad. And then they brought Bruce out to us and put him in our car. He was in a little box, a little cardboard coffin for him. And we went out to my aunt's house, and she said that we could bury him out there. So my mom's fiance and my uncle and myself dug him a nice hole in the backyard, and we took him out, put him in the hole, and buried him. And then I said a few words, and that was that. I know that if I hadn't picked him up, he would have just gotten more infections and been cold and wet, and he was wet. It was very rainy when I picked him up, so I mean, it wouldn't have been good. He would have just been cold and alone and had a really slow and sad death. But I just didn't expect him to have to be put down. I didn't think that that was something that was going to happen, so I just wasn't ready for that. And I only knew the dog for like a day, but I just have this thing with big dogs. I just love big dogs. They hold a special place in my heart. I grew up with this huge chocolate lab, and that's who Bruce reminded me of. It was just really hard. So the vet did end up refunding me $300 of the $1,500 that I paid, so that's good. I've got that at least. But other than that, I mean, all I have now is donations, so thank you guys to everyone who's donated to my top surgery. I definitely won't be spending any donations on anything other than top surgery, just so you guys know that. I will not touch the donations for anything. The money that I spent on Bruce was money that I had personally saved, and I knew that, and I knew what I was doing. And I don't just spend this money on stuff when I need it. This dog's life was my priority, and I had the money to do it, and so I did it. I think it was really peaceful for him. If it was going to happen, it should have happened that way. He got a cheeseburger, he was all morphined up, and he was surrounded by people who loved him in his last moments, and I'm glad. At least he's not suffering with a fucking shotgun wound. So while that's not Bruce's entire story, that's the story of how I knew Bruce and how I came to find him and I guess help him out a little bit as much as I could. And I'm really thankful to my family for being supportive and not judging me when I spent all my money on a stray dog. Because they were all very nice about it. And I just want to thank you guys for donating to my top surgery, because I would have like no money right now if you guys hadn't done that, so that really means a lot. I don't regret spending all my money on a stray dog. I just wish that he would have been okay. I wish that more could have been done. But that's how things happened. And that's my video. I hope you guys are having a good week. I'm going to have a video up on Thursday where I'm talking about a very cool product that I'm really excited to talk about. It's new and it's applicable to FTMs, and I'm really excited. I'm very, very excited about that. So thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Something's going on. I think I just filled up my memory card. To be continued. There's a stray cat in my apartment right now, and it's meowing in the background. Oh, I'm getting the blinking light again. Damn it, I'm just going through memory cards.